Welcome to another episode of Medicinal Moves. This week I am joined by powerlifting coach Patrick Kern. How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I am so blessed and grateful to have you on the platform. I'm really looking forward to having a conversation about powerlifting, fasting, and hopefully some other interesting topics today.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, let's dive right in. We were kind of talking pre-show about fasting, guys. I think that this is something that has probably become a little bit of a buzzword and isn't taken seriously like it should be. I think that maybe we use this thinking that it's going to be effective for everyone, and maybe we don't consider how this affects certain populations. So I think that you're probably a really good person to talk with right now to help us understand some of the nuance of everyone's favorite medicine, fasting.
So, with regards to fasting, there's two different ways that you can really look at it. You can look at it just from a physiological standpoint of, making sure that the body has a chance to process out what you've eaten in the past several days, so to speak. If you're just starting into fasting, or if you're going to fasting a little bit longer, excuse me, if you've been fasting a little bit longer, then there's certain disciplines, mentality disciplines that you can garner from that. Um, in the context of looking at like what does fasting do and who does it best serve? Right. So you kind of talked about it being a medicine. It can also be a spiritual practice in different religions as well. So there's different benefits that can be had there. But in the context of what we're talking about today, uh, from what little bit I have read about fasting, it can be very beneficial, especially for people that are dealing with certain medical conditions. It can kind of help them regulate their hormones because they're not dealing with major insulin spikes like they do from eating 3 or 4 times a day. So that's one way that you could really benefit from that. The benefits tend to be a little bit more for general health than it would be, say, for performance. And just on a surface level, you can probably see how that would be the case. Because if you look at, I love to use the analogy of a car. The car's not going to go very far if you don't put fuel into it. But if you are just kind of letting the car sit there, or you're working on other things, like you put the car in the garage because you're working on it, you don't need a whole lot of gas for that. But if you're trying to ask the car to take you places, it needs gasoline for that. So we look at food as gasoline for our bodies in that
Yeah,
sense. It
yeah,
serves a purpose for what we're trying to get out of it. But sometimes when we're fasting, we're actually working on the car internally to help it overcome certain things. Like, say, if you need to change the oil, or if you need to change out a part or fix something, whatever that might be.
absolutely. And I think that's just hearing you say that, that's probably how most of us should apply it. Just to fix those minor repairs, not maybe it's so much as a lifestyle. I definitely agree that after about 20 hours, the body what pumps up autophagy and helps us to shed those unwanted cells. I think we're in agreement there. But tell us more about turning our bodies into the Ferraris that we deserve. I probably should have set you up better for the world of powerlifting, but Patrick Kern is an expert in powerlifting. Would you be able to share some of your experiences or highlights as we delve deeper into a little bit of a performance-based conversation, talking about ways that we can fuel our Ferraris as opposed to trying to fit in it?
So, in the context of performing, like let's say for barbell sports, whether that's the sport of powerlifting, the squat, bench, the deadlift, Or what else I do is Olympic style weightlifting. So the sport of the snatch and the clean and jerk. It's only called Olympic weightlifting because it's in the Olympics. Otherwise, it would just be called weightlifting. But side quest there. So when it comes to sport, what you're really looking at, like we were kind of touching on earlier, is performance output. Now, where it gets interesting is especially when you get into the lighter weight classes. So let's say I have a guy that competed this past summer as a 73 kilo weightlifter. He actually hovers a little bit closer to the 67 kilo weight class on most given days. So he actually has to eat a little bit more, almost uncomfortably, to fill out to the 73 kilo class.
This is not a 180 something pounds.
Uh, it's going to be a little bit closer to the 160 pounds. I'm matter of fact, let me just get the calculator out real quick.
I'm
Uh,
sorry, I'm mad at that math.
oh, no, you're good. You're good. So yeah, 73 kilos is about roughly 160 pounds. And
Okay.
then 67 kilos would be about, let's see, 147. So there's about a 13-pound swing in there, right? Um, he naturally sits a little bit closer to the 67 kilo weight class, but the lighter he sits, the less that he can do,
Mhm.
right? So our goal this past summer was to, this past spring and summer, was to help him get used to eating a little bit more and give him a little more hypertrophy work so that he could fill out that weight class a little bit better.
Right.
So he was able to do that and was able to compete at U23 Nationals in Pittsburgh this past year. So he was able to do that and was able to fill out a little bit more, but he had to eat more.
Hmm.
He had to eat more to support the additional muscle that he built. He had to eat more to support the output that he had of trying to snatch and clean and jerk bigger weights. It's like what we were talking about. If you're trying to ask the car to take you somewhere or you're trying to ask the car to go, it needs gasoline.
Right.
So go ahead.
No, no, I couldn't agree with that more. I think that on the journey, I realized that we truly go through different stations and we have different levels to our life, different seasons. Some seasons, all we can do is get ourselves ready, right? But we're not ready to go far. And then, like you're talking about, when you really want to honor the vessel, you really want it to take you places, you're going to have to put an incredible input in it. But at that point, your awareness of what you're really putting in your body is up. So you're not putting the junk calories that you have to fast away when you get to a
Yeah.
performance level.
Yeah, you are what you eat in that sense.
Yeah,
So the better quality food that you can put in, the better you're likely going to perform.
absolutely. I just wanted to get some of your perspective on fasting because I do think that it is a great reparative agent for a lot of people that want to do the gut reset. Or if you follow Medicinal Moves on Instagram, we've got some good infographics talking about the 6 different types of fast. All the different
Mhm.
areas they hit, dopaminergic systems, your immune system, your gut. But you need to get those healed to get in the shape to get in the premier nutrition for performance. So I just see it pretty clearly the way that you uh, helped us out here.
Definitely. And I think to your point as well, you talked about or you touched on a season of life, right?
Mm.
So I think if there's a point where if you are fasting to help with some of those regenerative issues that you're trying to deal with, then you're probably looking at a season where you need to monitor how much output you're trying to do. You're probably not going to be that
Mm.
same beast in the gym that you would be if you're fueling up as much, but that's not your overarching goal at the time. right? Your
Right.
overarching goal is restorative and reparative.
I can relate to that very much. Yes. Thinking that you're going to build it back through work and not nutrition is very foolish. It's mathematically impossible, right? Like it defies physics. So, yeah, absolutely. I've been victim to
You have
that.
to put fuel in your body if you want it to go.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line, right?
Yeah, I've been victim to that, and underperforming and under nourishing, they go hand in hand. Absolutely, they go hand in hand. I've experienced that.
Very much so. But again, it's what is the overarching goal that we're trying to accomplish? If we're trying to heal from certain things, then yeah, fasting can be very helpful for that, just based off of what I've seen so far, and being more selective about food choices, right? So I have a family member, as a matter of fact, who's helped to stave off cancer because
Mm.
she's been more mindful about what she's been putting into her body ever since she's had um, surgery to remove the cancer cells, but
Yeah,
she's kind of helped with making sure that it doesn't come back because of the lifestyle overhaul that she made.
yeah.
So
That's
that's been really good. I mean, we're really grateful for that, and we're grateful that she didn't have to go through chemotherapy or radiation to get rid of the remaining cells. She was able to stave it off because of a nutrition overhaul.
hmm and that's really the goal for me is to stay away from anything medicated and prescribed, and to really use medicine, healing practices that are going to be 100% natural, homeopathic, whatever you want to call it. So yes, that's the ultimate goal. I mean, medicine is amazing, but staying away from it can keep you healthier. Yeah.
I mean, we're so fortunate that we live in a society where if we absolutely need it, then it's there.
hmm
But an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yes, yes, exactly. Um, with that being said, I think that you're in the middle of a competitive season right now, or are you just getting started?
Us, yeah. So I've been competing since 2011, frankly. So I've had the privilege of competing nationally in both Olympic weightlifting and powerlifting. Just meaning that I've competed on the national stage. I haven't, for example, I got a photo of or poster of these folks from USA Weightlifting. They've actually represented the United States in the Olympics. I haven't gone that far or anything like that. But
Still very cool though.
still,
Yeah.
I've there's national competitions, and I've had the privilege of competing at them, and those are gateways to going internationally. So
Yeah.
I've had the privilege of being on those platforms. Most of my weights have been kind of the warm up weights for some of the guys that are up here, but you know what? That's okay. Uh, we just we just get as far as we can, right?
Right. You're only doing three lifts, so I mean, eventually it'll be your best lift. You just got to keep working through it. You know that.
Yeah. So obviously, there's only so much that you are going to be able to do, but you can definitely maximize how much you can do based off of the choices that you make.
Yes.
Right? So,
Yes.
especially including the nutrition side, making sure you're putting good fuel in your body, getting adequate sleep is a big one right now. That's especially been something that has caught a lot more attention lately, and rightfully so. It just makes sense. The better rested you are, the better you're going to perform. And fortunately, that's something that doesn't need extra calories. You just need discipline and making sure that you turn the phone off before you go to bed, things like that, right?
Sleep is so critical. Sleep is more productive than training most often. So yeah, absolutely. Getting that sleep consistently gives you everything that you need. It's just we have so many excuses on why we can't do it, whether it's the phone, um, life, or something else. We always find a way to mess that most productive zone up, that sleep area. Say it again.
Restorative. right?
Yeah,
So that's
sure.
where your body gets a chance to truly be at its lowest point of output and be able to just focus internally on itself to, you know, de-stress from the day, bring the cortisol levels down, build up your HGH, your human growth hormone. Perfectly legal when you get an adequate amount of sleep, illegal when you inject it. So just be careful of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. Um, I want to ask you about one important area when we talk about address nutrition, eating out. How often? How often do you see your athletes eating out?
So as far as my athletes, like I see them maybe 3, 4 times a week. So as far as the rest of their excuse me, as far as the rest of their time is concerned, um, you know, I may see it on Instagram every once in a while when they share a picture of their food, or I
Hmm.
may not. But most of my athletes know that their better choices calorically and nutritionally are going to be home cooked. Uh, don't get me wrong, especially during this holiday season, I've had some wonderful, wonderful plates at some different restaurants. So
Yeah,
I'm not gonna bag restaurants on that. But that being said, restaurants are in the business of making money by making food that's palatable, not always the healthiest.
yeah,
Now you can, in home cooking, you can make it so that it is both, more or less, if you really know what you're doing with your cooking and your spices and things like that. But you
right.
gotta be mindful of what you're cooking with. The restaurant's number one priority is to make it palatable so that you keep coming back and wanting that experience again.
Yeah,
So yeah, everything is everything's within its balance, right? If you're with family, you're celebrating a big occasion or a birthday or you're at a wedding or something like that, enjoy the moment, right? That's usually gonna be my advice is enjoy the moment because life is meant to be lived. But at the
hmm,
same time, if going to a restaurant is, a weekly or, every third day type of thing for you, then maybe that's a lifestyle change that we can overhaul and say, hey, you know what? Let's prep our own food. Let's put let's know what we're putting into our bodies because we don't always know what the restaurant is cooking with. You can ask if you want to be that be that meticulous about it, but why not just take the guesswork out of it and know what you're putting into your body, know what you're cooking, and know what you're eating at that point.
you know, the toughest clients are the ones that, with this step, give a lot of resistance, and it just, I don't know, those little conveniences add up. We love eating out for so many different reasons, but it's so obviously bad. Um, I don't
The
know.
drive-through window can be a real monkey wrench for a lot of people, man.
Hmm. And I mean, when you meal prep, you tell people to get that consistency. They don't want to do it because they don't want to eat the same thing every day, or they want something that has more flavor, or there's more energy and resistance and all. And I see myself as well. How you truly get, I guess, addicted to that consistency. You get addicted to that palatability. I think they even call it velocity. How fast you can eat this stuff sometimes. But you know exactly what I'm talking about. That yum yum yum.
How much easier is it now just to literally grab this, hit a few, hit the screen a few times, then bam, some strangers bringing food to your door, already prepped, already
Right,
cooked within the hour sometimes, within 30 minutes sometimes.
right.
It's hyper palatable and it's also super convenient. That's hard to overcome.
Yeah, it
Cooking your
is.
own food takes discipline. Cooking your own food takes more time. Now there's ways to make it more efficient, but you have to be intentional on that. It's
Hmm.
so easy to be unintentional and just say like, "Oh, let's see what comes up in an hour or so." Am I hungry now? Maybe not. Oh, now I'm really hungry. Now I don't want to cook.
Exactly.
Hello, takeout, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's too easy. So a pastor of mine at one point said, "Failing to plan is planning to fail."
And that's absolutely it. Yes, that's it. It's more effort to plan in our culture than it is to do anything else. So
Mhm.
I see that a lot. I see a lot of resistance when it comes to prepping the meals. But once you build that consistency, um, I think within 6 months you see massive transformation.
Big time, big time. You start feeling better for one,
Hmm.
and two, you notice a difference when you eat quality food versus not quality food, right? So I'm kind of at the point now where I feel the difference between when I've made a certain dish at home and then I go and get the same dish from a restaurant or sometimes from a drive-through, just because, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I noticed this,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, now I very rarely go through a drive-through window. Like I will if there's nothing else, or if I'm traveling or something like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm trying to eat stuff at home.
You can't win if you're going to a drive-through. Unfortunately, there's just nothing that they can deliver to you that's sustaining. Um, it's all
For
going
the
to
most part, yeah. So uh, here in Dallas, Texas, there's a chain that's been popping up called Salad and Go. I don't know if it's
yeah.
gone nationwide or something like that, but they seem to be providing a little bit of a better option in that sense. You know, I'll send Salad and Go a bill for the promotional that I just gave them, but
I know. I
that's
want
just
them
one
to
example,
promote
right?
me too. I want them to promote me too. But Salad and Go, they're not only that, they're affordable. Knock on wood, I don't want their prices to go up, but they're affordable. So yeah. But how many of us really make that call and that decision? And then there's people like me that have to double up on the protein and increase the blue cheese because there's,
Mhm.
but Salad and Go is a great option. Most definitely. Shout out to Salad and Go. Absolutely. That's a good one.
So maybe we see more things like that coming up. Let's
And
hope.
Chipotle too. I mean, they're organic. Everything's at least like real whole foods, and it's all made fresh, never refrigerated, right? But
Sure, sure,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So, but again, it takes that kind of diligent mentality to scope it out and make sure that you're getting the right stuff. And sure, you can keep doing that, I suppose. Might get a little old after a while, hopefully, because you're now relying on other people to prep your food as opposed to making it yourself.
exactly. Okay, so we're gonna segue from this one, but last subtopic: procuring the food, grocery shopping. How do you make it easy? How do you make it systemic in in your home culture?
So for us, generally, my wife and I will take turns on going to the grocery store. Um, sometimes, sometimes we'll even some grocery stores are doing this now, where you can kind of order the carts and have it be all put together and just be picked up that way. But it
Yeah,
takes a little bit of planning. But that is kind of a nice thing that has come up because of convenience, right? Especially if you know that what you're getting isn't necessarily like, you don't want to you don't need to like pick through the produce to make sure you're getting the best one that you like, right? Or like the ripest banana or the greenest banana, whatever that might be. So if it's an item like that's maybe already packaged, then it's easy enough just to have somebody else pick that out. They
hmm,
navigate the grocery store, and then
yeah,
it's ready for you to pick up in X amount of time, right?
yeah,
So sometimes that's helpful. Sometimes you got to make that deliberate time to walk through the store, know what you're getting, get in, get it, get out.
yes. Man,
Right?
you're making
Have
me
an
feel.
agenda.
Yeah, you're making me feel so much better about Instacart. It's life changing. It truly is.
Totally, man. Like, hey, if that's something that works for you, by all means. Like, you have to make your systems work for you
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
outcome that you want.
yeah. I think that's where we really lose it is in preparing our own food and then remaining consistent in how uh, we manifest our strength, right? That however you work out. Some people get on the Planet Fitness train and they stay low key consistent. I think there's people that get those super gyms and they go intense, they burn hot, but oftentimes I think that with things that burn hot, they burn out. Um, so, how do you find consistency in an inconsistent world? We've already talked about how our mental health, our sleep, and our nutrition get knocked off. How do you stay focused?
I think the biggest thing that helped me was reframing my mentality around food. So for me, I, for the most part, look at food as gasoline as opposed to entertainment.
Mm,
Yeah, I think some people they have a mentality that they want to keep food exciting. They want to keep food, uh, you know, as something that they can get together with friends over, which is great. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having tasty food. But again, it's what is the end goal that you're working towards? And for the performance mentality of working towards an output that you want to accomplish, you have to look at your food as gasoline. Like, what food is going to help me get to where I want to go,
right.
as opposed to, hey, what tastes good and what's going to be a nice to have thing. So, looking at it not as a source of entertainment, which is very easy to do these days, because I mean,
Yes.
how easy is it to go to the hibachi and be entertained by how they cook in front of you, right?
Yeah. Worth every
Yeah,
penny. Yeah.
sure, absolutely. And it tastes wonderful. Don't get me wrong, but
Hmm.
is that always the thing that's going to help you perform the way you want to? Maybe, maybe not, right? So when you look at it as an objective, not as an entertainment, then it reframes your mindset towards, at least for me. I'm just speaking solely what worked for me.
Yeah.
You're looking at it more towards, is this going to help me do what I want to do?
I love it. It's so easy to get that cake, pie, or cookie, that dessert that you shouldn't get, but you crave it. You feel like you deserve it, and then you have it, and it's a cycle. It just perpetuates itself from there. Using the premium fuel is a great analogy. And I think we're documenting what we're doing here for myself and those that I work with in 2025. So we'll see if I can get to that premium unleaded or if I'm still going to be, uh, you know, fueling up with the old stuff. Working to get better every day, and I appreciate all your knowledge and information. Um, I appreciate you for making the time. Is there anything that you want to promote before we end the show? Is there anything that you want to share with those that are listening that you're working on?
Sure. So I'm working on building a little bit more of a presence with online coaching. So my focuses are basically Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, and sports performance. So people who are doing, let's say high school or college age sports, they're working towards getting better for their sport. So what I handle primarily is the strength and conditioning side for them. So helping them to train smarter
Hmm.
and make sure that they're putting themselves in position to succeed, right? So that's a big thing that I'm working on right now. So um, easiest way to get started is to message me. So you can find me on Instagram as Kern Strength and Fitness. You can also find our weightlifting team in Plano, Texas, at Plano underscore WL.
Plato_WO on IG.
Correct, on Instagram.
All right. All right. Um, a whole wealth of knowledge and information. And I hope that we can have another conversation in the future about supplementation. I think I've thrown two or three out there specifically. If I haven't already thrown them out there to you, I'd love to follow up and get your input and perspective here pretty soon.
Absolutely, would love to do that.
Yeah, awesome. Well, until the next episode, visit medicinalmoves.com. Make sure you read the articles, participate in our community, and I look forward to our next conversation. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, my man.